All right, meeting has begun. We can start letting people in.
They're in at this stage. I don't have any requests pending. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andy McPherson. I am affectionately known as Mr. Easy Stock, and also the training manager. Juan is going to be teaching us GE SmartHQ, as well as some cool troubleshooting tips on various appliances. I will let him talk about the special we've got going on and then chime in at some point. I'm going to leave everybody muted, and a couple times during this session, Juan will open up the floor for questions. I will unmute folks, and you may have to unmute your mic, but I will give you that ability. And then the mute button is your little microphone, and then you can we can go back and forth, and it works really well. So on that note, thanks for attending, and I'll let Juan take over from here.
All right, Andy, thank you very much. 1 second. All right, folks, welcome to this presentation, and thank you. Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us today. Again, my name is Juan Morales. I'm the Senior Staff Field Application Engineer for SmartHQ Pro here at GE Appliances. And we are really excited about today's presentation because not only are you going to get the chance to learn about SmartHQ service, but you also are going to get access to an exclusive offer that Encompass Supply has put together for you. This is going to involve getting the SmartHQ service application and the module at an incredible, it's not even a discount, right? We'll show you in a second what that offer is all about. But before we get started with that, I just want to go ahead and share our contact info for those of you that are maybe joining us for the first time. So here's our email address in case you ever need to get in contact with us, smarthqservice.support@geappliances.com. And of course, you can learn a little bit more about this product by going to smarthqpro.com/service. Now, the QR code that you're seeing right there in the bottom of your screen, this will give you access to a training series that GE Appliances hosts independently from any other trainings. This is called Fix It Like a Pro, and it is a monthly series. But in addition to the live webinars that we offer, there is a plethora of training content in there, anything from refrigerators, washers, dryers, the whole nine, schematic diagrams, you name it, that you can access anytime, any day from any place as long as you register. And there's absolutely no cost to that. That's just a way for us to offer more information to you so that you can service our appliances better. Okay, so that's in effect, my friends, our contact info there that I wanted to share. And again, going back to what we're talking about today, SmartHQ service. Now, let me go ahead and highlight or spotlight. I forgot to do this before, so I'm going to spotlight myself for everyone, just so that everybody should be able to see now my full screen. So hopefully that's the case. And we're going to go ahead and get started with the presentation for today. So we're talking SmartHQ service, which a lot of you have heard about it, or maybe you have it already. If you've heard about it, maybe you don't know too much information. SmartHQ service is an app-based tool, right? So it involves the mobile device and the application that you load onto it. And of course, the hardware is the Bluetooth module that connects to your refrigerator. Now, I'll go over the details in a little while about what the tool does and how to use it. But in general, my friends, the intent for this technology is to give you the ability to run more service calls. Okay, so that's the bottom line. At the end of the day, the reason you're here, the reason you're getting training and learning about this technology is so that you can be more efficient, so that you can increase your first-time completes, and most importantly, be able to add service calls to your daily routine, which in turn is going to make you much more profitable. So today we're going to show you how, if you adopt this technology, you'll be able to diagnose much faster than you ever did before. And I'm not talking 10, 20, 30% faster. I'm talking going from a repair or a diagnostic procedure that normally takes you an hour down to less than 5 minutes. You'll know exactly what's wrong with the unit, what part you need, and you'll also know how to order it directly from your application. It's going to take you to the Encompass B2B website, and you're going to be able to order it right from them. All right, my friends. So that's kind of going to be the flow of today's presentation. But we're going to get started first with showing you how traditionally, right, we're accustomed to diagnosing products. So for that, we're going to first talk, just as an example, we're going to show you a one of those stacked washer dryer combination units, right, where you have the top load washer in the bottom section, and at the top there's a dryer. So in this particular case, if we want to diagnose this unit, right, what we would have to do to enter the service mode is to press and hold the start key, then turn that cycle knob 180 degrees, or I think you click it 6 or 7 times, something like that. And once that happens, the LEDs are going to blink, and then you continue to rotate the knob to various positions until you get to the function that you are trying to access. Now, there's going to be a total of 16 functions. So in many cases, my friends, it's going to be a matter of you having to refer to a service guide, a technical manual, or maybe even call TechLine, right, to tell you what these different functions are. All doable, but a little bit time consuming, okay, and confusing. So if I haven't confused you enough, let me confuse you a little further, all right? So check this out. Once you're in the service mode, you're going to have to understand something called binary, right? And we're like, what's binary? Binary reminds me of the days when, like, I used to watch those 70s movies, or, you know, those sci-fi movies where they have the room full of computers and there's a bunch of blinking lights blah, 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 going all over the place. That's binary code. And believe it or not, our appliances these days will give you the service codes, the fault codes, in the form of binary code. But for you to understand that, you have to understand how the ones and zeros are set up. So we're not going to go through the whole decimal binary thing. That's a whole nother class. But I will show you what's on the, for example, on the service guide for this washing machine, right? So in this case, if you have, for example, the lid lock LED that is blinking, that would be an indication that you have a fault code number 1. And if you have two LEDs, the rinse and the spin, they're blinking, that's fault code number 6, because those 2 blinking LEDs indicate that you have a binary value of 6. So that's more or less how you would kind of follow the service guide and be able to determine what those blinking codes mean. Now, obviously, once you know what the binary value is, you would go to further into the service guide. And if you want to get into the test mode, right, where you want to activate water valves, pressure sensor, drain pump, now you have to select from other functions a different set of binary codes. And that essentially is going to take you to your diagnostic tests. Now, all of this, okay, I'm running through it relatively quick because to be able to show you that, you know, in full detail, I'd have to take out a manual, and I would have to refer to it because there's no way that I'm going to remember that, right? It's hard enough to memorize everything that's going on in life, let alone what are the binaries in a washing machine, right? So for that, we do have the mini manual that's built into the application, and you can download that, or you don't even need that. Every one of our appliances, somewhere hidden in one of the panels, there's a little mini manual, a tech sheet that you can refer to view that information. But again, it's very, you know, you have to study it, you have to understand it. It's a little bit time consuming. So let me show you an example. When I was doing a training out in one of the property management companies, after giving them a thorough training on how to understand binary codes in that specific machine, this was sort of the result, right? This is real life, what you're going to take a look at right now. So as we say around here, my friends, let's go to the videotape. Start. What focal number is that?
Number 3.
Okay, good. Press it again. Start. What focal code is that? What? 20?
26.
Yeah, you got it. Next one. What focal code is that?
3. No.
Plus 16. Plus 16.
Oh,
19.
19.
Okay, press it again. What is that? No more fault codes. That's the end. Okay.
We have 3.
All right. Okay, click start again. Okay, activate the water valve for me, please. No, the other way. Go to. Keep going.
Keep going.
That's 10.
No.
Oh no, that's 6, 7, 8. Okay.
First.
Press start. Yeah. Open the lid. Beautiful. Okay, kill it. Okay. Turn on the hot water valve. Turn the dial one more.
One more time. Ali.
Don't be scared. Okay, open the. Beautiful. Okay, close. Okay. Kill it. All right, drain it now. One more. No, no, no. 11, 11, 11. Test 11. What is that test? That's 8 plus 2. That's 10. One more. One more. No, no, no. One more. That's the pressure sensor test. Okay, go ahead. That's a drain pump. Beautiful. You passed the test. Okay, next person. All right, my friends. So that in effect is what you just saw, right? It's a technician trying to go into the service mode the traditional way, right? Manually by clicking the the jog dial, pressing buttons, trying to interpret what those blinking lights are. And then I believe he was trying to go into service mode to activate water valves, drain pump, things like that. So imagine yourself in front of a customer, right? Just picture this. You have a customer that's right on top of you, watching your every move because they don't trust that you know what you're doing. And you're trying to struggle through these service mode. It can get overwhelming, right? So a lot of us do it this way or did it this way, right? When I was a service technician, I had to know how to enter service mode. So if, let's say I was working on this fridge, I'd have to know what the key code sequence was to be able to activate fans, heaters, or even just to pull the error codes, the fault codes. But when you work on different products, different manufacturers, it can get really confusing, really overwhelming. So that's why this technology, SmartHQ service, is designed to help you overcome all of that. Okay. So some of you have never actually seen this system over here. Maybe it's your first time that you actually venture into what SmartHQ service is. So let's go over a very high-level overview. So again, as I mentioned earlier, at the heart of the system is that Bluetooth module that you see right there in the middle of your screen. And that is going to connect to the appliance's Ethernet port, which in the case of a French door fridge is behind the top middle cover. Now, once you connect, you're going to be able to communicate between the appliance and the mobile device via the Bluetooth protocol. So this way, you're going to be able to access anything that's going on with the unit, with the appliance you're working on, as far as maybe temperature values, right? You want to know what the temperatures are in every single compartment. You could do that with the push of a button. There's no need to take out a multimeter. You don't have to open the doors to measure with an infrared thermometer, none of that stuff. And for example, here, right away, we can see that the fresh food compartment is a little bit warm. So right away, we know that there's a problem. So we've been pointed in the direction of where the issue is. Now, in addition to real-time diagnostics, because the tool doesn't just diagnose, right? This tool will also give you access to cloud-based service documentation, which if you ever needed a schematic diagram or a service manual, or if you're an affiliated company with GE Appliances and you need the service bulletins, you will have access to that right from your mobile device. So there's no need to go to any service website or to phone tech support, nothing. Everything is right at your fingertips, and it's all readily available through the SmartHQ service application. One more thing, my friends, this app is available for both Android and iOS devices, which means you do not have to go out there and purchase additional hardware. You like your phone, keep your phone and use it, or your tablet or your iPad or whatever it is that you have. So this brings us to another thing, parts, right? At some point, you are going to need parts. And when that time comes, you can simply use the parts function within the app, click on the part item number, and it will give you the exact part. And in a little while, we're actually going to show you how you can enter a code in here, right, in the SmartHQ service application to be able to order your parts directly from Encompass Supply. So this is going to be a one-stop shop. You can diagnose, fix, and order your parts all from here. All right, my friends. So that was more or less the high-level overview, and I'm going to go ahead and show you one more screen real quick over here, which is the dashboard screen. This is what you're going to see as soon as you open up the application, and then we'll go right into the demo. So rather than me kind of talk through this slide, I'm just going to go ahead and zoom into the most important part of it, which is going to be the diagnostic section right here. All right, so let's move this more toward the center. So in the diagnostic section, you have four key features, let's call it, right? Four key functions. The first one is going to be the fault codes. The second is alerts. Then you have diagnostic features and then firmware updates. So let's talk a little bit about the fault code button, right? Because when you click on that fault code button, not only, first of all, this tells you that there's 3 fault codes, but also if you click on it, you will be able to see a high-level overview of when the fault code occurred and what the fault code means, all right? Now, again, going back to traditional methods, my friends, if I had to pull the fault codes from this refrigerator or a dishwasher or washing machine, whatever the case, whatever appliance I'm working on, I have to first figure out how to get into the fault code mode, into the service mode. So that's the first challenge. What sequence of button clicks do I have to do to get those codes? And then once you get the code, you still have to decipher it. So you need another service guide to sort of match the two. Again, can get very difficult, but with SmartHQ service, everything is right at your fingertips, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and show you because this is a live demo, okay? This fridge, my customer has, told me that there's a problem with it. They didn't really tell me what the problem is. They just said, fridge is broken, I gotta run, fix it, please. And now, as a technician, I have to figure out what's wrong. Is it not cooling? Is it making noise? Is the ice function dead? Is it frost buildup? There could be a variety of things that, can define a broken fridge. Now, before I go into the demo, I'm going to open it up to see if there are any questions on the line. And we'll give it a couple seconds here to see if anybody wants to chime in.
I've turned everybody's mics on. If you just unmute it, then you can ask Juan any questions right now. Speak openly, you're among friends.
Yes, no pressure here. And by the way, if you don't want to ask a question, you can also type it in the chat. It just takes a while to type it out, but that's also an option as well. So I'm going to take silence as good. But again, this is going to be, we're going to be periodically pausing for questions. So if you didn't get a chance to ask now, prepare your question, and we'll be able to answer it a little bit later on. All right?
It's on.
All right, my friends. So let's go ahead and move on to the demo. And for that, we're going to do a little bit of movie magic over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my iPad screen. So this is, again, in real-time live demo. Everything that you see me do over here on my iPad, it's going to happen on that side of your screen. So you're going to see everything, every button click, everything that I do. So the first thing that I notice is I am connected, of course, to a refrigerator. And for time purposes, by the way, I've already connected the Bluetooth to the port, and I've already paired my mobile device, in this case an iPad, to the Bluetooth module. So it takes 2 seconds, but I didn't want to spend time doing that. So we have the model and serial number listed there. The unit is 3 years old, and by the way, the filter is expired, so that's another thing the app will tell you, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, it's time to change your filter. Now let's go into the diagnostics, right? Because I want to find out what's wrong with this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the fault codes, and if I click on that fault code button, we're going to bypass this disclaimer. We can see that there are 3 fault codes in total. Now, one of them is inactive, and 2 of them are active. So let's start with the inactive code first, okay? An inactive code means that something happened some time ago, but it's not really a problem anymore. So if we look at the one over here, the inactive code, it's an F717. Sounds like an airplane, right? F717. But it basically means that somebody left the door open in the freezer drawer for about 15 minutes, but this happened 80 days ago. I don't care about this anymore because by now the door has been shut and there's no problem. So I can ignore the inactive code. But the 2 green ones, right, the ones that say active, I got to do something about it. Otherwise, the fridge is still going to be broken by the time I leave. So the first one, F106, is a fan error right in the fresh food section, and it's telling me that it's probably an obstruction or something. So at the very least, even though I'm not sure if it's really a fan problem, I have been pointed in the direction by SmartHQ service that there could be a problem in the fresh food fan area. So keep that in mind, okay? And then at the bottom, we have another thermistor error code. This one happens to be in the ice maker in the freezer section. So that tells me that there's potentially a problem there. So with that, I know that there are 2 problems, a fan and a thermistor, that I might have to take a look at. Now, the other thing I want to look at over here real quick is what's my temperature inside the fridge? Because I need to know, right? Is the fridge cooling? Is it over freezing? Things like that. Now, again, normally what we would do, or I'm going to say what I would do as a technician, I would come in with my little infrared thermometer, open the door wide open, let all the warm air in, and start shooting away. And at that point, you know, because I let all the warm air in, my temperature is going to be off, so it's not going to be accurate. Now, the other way that I could do this that's more accurate is keep the fridge doors closed, pull the unit from the point of installation, and measure each thermistor individually with a multimeter, then take that resistance value, go to a service manual, and match the values with a temperature voltage resistance chart, and determine what the temperatures are in the fridge. Well, by the time I do that, because I had to pull the unit from the installation point and probably unplug it, everything's already all different temperatures, so it's not practical. So with SmartHQ service, check this out, my friends. With the push of a button, okay, I'm going to press this little button up here, it's called the watch box button. Every single thermistor temperature value is going to show up just like that immediately and in Fahrenheit. So now I can see at the top, look at this, fresh food thermistor, 59 degrees. Okay, right away, I know that there's a problem with the fresh food thermistor. The freezer is at -9, so freezer is super cold. And in case you're wondering, could this be a sealed system issue? If we go down to the evaporator thermistors, okay, the fresh food and the freezer evaporator thermistors, we can see that they're frozen solid. They're -17, -19. So I don't suspect there's a sealed system issue here. Based on the fault code that I got earlier with the fan problem, I have a strong hunch that this has something to do with airflow, okay? So in order for me to find out for sure, I have to go into the test mode and then test the fans. In particular, I'm going to be worrying about this one. Now, one more thing, my friends, you see that value that's in red, 300 for the ice maker mold body thermistor? So that's the fault code we were getting earlier, and believe me when I tell you it's not 300 degrees in there, okay? It's not an oven we're talking about. This is not a new hybrid fridge oven combination unit. The reason it's showing 300 is because that compartment gives me the option to install a second ice maker, but I haven't done it just because I'm lazy. And SmartHQ service is detecting the absence of that thermistor, so it's throwing a fault, but it's really not a problem, okay? Now, if that was the case in one of the evaporator thermistors or the compartment, that's a problem. I got to change it. So just to give you that information, okay, if you ever see that. So with that said, now I have a lot of information. I have a lot of data that basically tells me, hey, buddy, check the fan operation. So for that, we're going to go back to our dashboard screen over here, and we're going to go to the diagnostic functions or diagnostic features. And now through this screen, I am going to enter service mode on the refrigerator. Again, I'm not going to press a series of key code sequences and go through different tests. I'm going to do it all from here. So to enter service mode, we're going to go ahead and hit operate loads. And now you can see that we have the option to activate different components, but first we have to enter service mode. Now, to show you better, I'm going to open the door. And as you can see, the lights are on, which means that the unit has control of itself. Right now, so far, it's controlling itself. I don't have any control over it. But watch what happens when I enter service mode. With the push of a button, the lights shut off on the fridge, which means I have full control of the unit through my iPad, right, by using the SmartHQ service application. So anything I ask the unit to do, it's going to do. So if I want to turn the lights back on, I go to doors and lights, I select fresh food LEDs on, and just like magic, the LEDs come on. And just like that, whenever I feel like turning them off, I can just hit the off key and the lights shut off. So very simple, very basic test right here. But I wanted to show you this because this same exact way that we activated those LEDs is the same way we can activate a drain pump, a defrost heater, a fan, a motor on a washing machine, right? The circulation pump on a dishwasher, anything and everything that you would normally go into test mode to activate. With the push of a button, it's all done from your app. So that being said, let's go ahead and go back to our fans. And now what I want to do, my friends, is this. I want to test primarily, or, you know, I'm focused on the fresh food fan, but I also want to test every other fan. While I'm here, I may as well, right? Why not? So to do that, we're going to press all fans on, and you're going to notice that every single fan is going to begin running at a high speed. Okay, and the reason you're going to know it's at high speed is because the status over here is going to say high for every single one of the fans. Now, to better illustrate, I'm going to take myself out of the picture. So we're going to rotate this and just show you the iPad screen. So there we go. You can see it all. So you can see at the top, the freezer or evaporator fan is running at high speed, and the RPM reading, it's about 2,400. So that's good. Now, the condenser fan is also running at high speed with an RPM reading of 1,555 RPM. Keep in mind that if the RPM reading is off, if it's too slow or too fast, it's going to show up in red, which would indicate that there's a problem. But in this case, there's no red, so these two fans are operating at optimal performance. Now, let's scroll to the fresh food fan and take a look at the RPMs, 0. Right? And if you notice, the speed is still high, which means the main control board is sending high speed signal for that fan to operate, and yet we have 0 RPMs, which means that fan is not spinning. All right, so this would be a clear indication. Just based on this is super important, my friend, so pay attention to this section, right? This would be a clear indication that my problem is not my main control board, because the main control board is sending signal. The problem is actually the fan not rotating, or something within the fan. Even if it's rotating, it's not sending a feedback signal, so I would have to replace the fan. So I've isolated the problem now. Based on all these different tests I've made, I've isolated the problem to being the fresh food fan, nothing else, all right? And let me, to further kind of show you how that theory, or that's true, we're gonna go ahead and shut off that fan, the fresh food evaporator fan. So I'm gonna hit the off key, and you notice that the load status goes from high to off. And there it is, it's off now. Now, this means at this point, the main board, it is not sending any signal to the fresh food evaporator fan to run. So I'm gonna go ahead and resend a signal, but this time I'm gonna select medium. So we're gonna select medium speed on medium. And you're gonna notice that the load status changes from off to medium, MED. So with that said, now I have confirmed that my main board is good because it's sending different signals. And because my RPMs remain at 0, I am convinced now that the problem lies within the fan. So if I'm making a decision as to which parts I need to get, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this off, and we're kind of leave it at that. So if I'm trying to make a decision, okay, I need to order some parts to fix this customer's unit, I now know that the only part I need to order is the fan motor, right? And this is extremely important for you as a business owner, as a technician as well, because let's say you're quoting a job, right? Let's say you're quoting this one to your customer. Okay, Mrs. Customer, it's gonna, and you're not sure if it's the fan or the main control board. You might say, well, one of the two parts is gonna fix it, so I'm just gonna throw both of them in. Now, the main board, it's about $300. The fan could be, I don't know, $80, $100, let's just say. And let's say your labor, it's $200, hypothetically speaking, okay? It could be higher or lower, it doesn't matter. So now you're talking about a $600, quote to fix this. And the customer might say, well, you know what? For another $500, I could just buy a new fridge, so I'm gonna pass. Well, you just lost that business. But if you know exactly that you only need the fan motor, you charge them your labor, whatever that rate is, and then you charge, let's say, $100 for the part for the motor. That makes it more, more digestible, right? The customer is like, you know what, $300 or whatever it is, I could live with that. I'll keep the fridge. Go ahead and fix it. So it gives you the ability to be more competitive, obviously more efficient. If the main board, let's say it's on back order and you have to wait another week, now you don't have to wait for that because you just need the one part. So your customer is also going to be more loyal to you because now they know that you give them a good service at a fair price, and anytime they need to refer, to a friend or family, they're going to refer you. Plus, you're going to get those 5-star ratings on Google and everything else. So it works out for everybody else. And that's why we say, my friends, this tool makes you money, right? And not only that, but if you notice, I haven't moved from this spot, and yet I was able to test all of this, boom, just like that. So the time that I would have spent taking the unit out of the point of installation, all of that, you can put that time, or save that time and go and run another service call. That's the true power of SmartHQ service. All right, my friends, and that would be our first test over here. Very simple, activating the fans and determining that the problem is exactly the fan motor. All right. So with that said, my friends, just to finish out over here, sort of our the slide that we had here regarding the dashboard. Don't forget that you do get access to the full service manual of every product. And let's say you're working on that combo washer dryer with a heat pump on top, right? And like a million sensors, you will have the full details, testing procedure, disassembly, reassembly, parts information, all at your fingertips, my friends. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and pause to see if there's any questions on the line.
All right, hang on one second. Anybody can open up their mic and ask Juan a question.
I just had a question about ice maker testing. If it works with all ice makers, because I've run into a couple of the side-by-sides where I wasn't able to like get the ice maker to rotate or harvest or fill with water.
Great question. Thank you for asking. So with ice makers, the test is limited to ice makers that are not strictly mechanical but have digital control. So for example, this ice maker right here, my friend, which is on a French door, this gets its control from the door board. So in this particular case, I would be able to utilize, and let me go ahead and share the screen over here so you can see it. If I went to the ice maker test, you can see that I can activate the water valves individually, the isolation valve and the ice maker water valve, the rake motor, the heating element, the fill tube heater. So it does, SmartHQ service does give you a lot of flexibility with ice makers, but it is limited to the ones that get digital control. If it's strictly a mechanical ice maker, then it would not be able to control it. That being said, you would still be able to see the signal that comes from the boards, for example, for the heater or for the rake motor, right, to turn on. And then you would get the feedback when the rake motor spins all the way around and it gets back to its home position. So at the very least, you'll be able to determine whether it's an ice maker issue, a water issue, or a main control, or in this case, a door board issue. But you do have that ability to do it on the application. And obviously, with the more sophisticated the unit is, the more control you're going to have. So great question. Thank you for asking. Anybody else have any questions on the line? All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. So again, I will periodically pause to answer questions. But one thing I want to talk about real quick now, my friends, is so a lot of you are wondering, okay, great tool. How much is it, and where can I get it? Well, I want to be one of the first to say that Encompass Supply has prepared an exclusive offer for all of you. So this is like VIP treatment, okay? You are among the first to actually gain access to this exclusive offer that Encompass has put together. And let me go ahead and share the screen so you can see what it is. So just by attending today, you have VIP pre-order access to purchase the SmartHQ service module, which is going to come with 1 month of subscription service for free. The cost to you is going to be $199. But if you order $2,500 worth of GE appliances parts in the next 2 months, Encompass Supply will reimburse you that $200 back. So essentially, this makes the module and the 1 month of service totally free. No cost to you, okay? You just have to make sure you buy $2,500 worth of parts in 2 months, which you could probably do in a week or so. Just stock up on sensors, whatever it is that you need for GE appliances, okay? This is, nobody else, I've never seen an offer like this, okay? You're essentially getting this tool for free. It's yours to keep. It's not like you have to give it back or anything like that. And you can, it's not limited to one, right? If you buy, let's say, 5 of these right now, okay, you're gonna get $1,000 back. Okay, you're gonna pay $1,000 up front, but then you're gonna get $1,000 back as long as you purchase $2,500 worth of GE appliance parts within the next 2 months. So as soon as you order, just make sure you start buying your, be prepared to buy your parts, and you get that reimbursement. It does not get any better than that. And in order for you to take advantage of that offer, all you have to do is scan the QR code that you see right there on your screen. Again, nobody else has access to this except you right now because you're attending this. And you will be able to take advantage of this offer. If for some reason you don't have your phone, you can't scan or something, write down the part number, contact your Encompass Supply rep, and they will be able to to give you that information and get you set up. But these will ship sometime in October, very early October. However, you have access to doing a pre-order now, so don't wait. Take advantage of this, because once they go, once the supply runs out, it's going to be on back order, and you're going to have to wait for them. So with that said, my friends, I'm going to go ahead and show that screen one more time later on. But I do see a question in the chat over here. Actually, oh, hello, Sonny from Jet Cool Appliances. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And I think there's a question in the chat. Let's see. How do you know what unit this tool will work on? Where do you hook up on the product? Byron, thank you so much for asking the question. So Byron's asking which units are compatible with SmartHQ service. So SmartHQ service began as a service tool for our factory team back in 2012. Okay, so the answer to that is appliances from 2012, GE appliances from 2012 and on have this compatibility. Now, not every single appliance had it in 2012 because we were still evolving, right? But I'm going to say from 2017, 2018 and up, the majority of appliances, I'm going to say somewhere between 85 and 90% of the appliances will connect. And we're talking washers, dishwashers, dryers, ovens, washing machines, with the exception of microwaves, because microwaves are more electromechanical than anything. But with the exception of that, every single product category will work with this tool. And it's not limited to GE, right? Because GE has a whole family of brands, GE Profile, Hotpoint, Higher, Cafe appliances, and the very luxurious Monogram. All of that is compatible. As far as the port location, so if you go into the application itself, there's going to be a document called Ethernet port location. Click on that. It's going to tell you exactly where the port for each appliance is. So for example, in the case of French door refrigerators, the port is located behind the top middle cover. You don't even have to pull the unit from the point of installation. Just open the doors, reach around the top. If you kind of feel with your finger, you'll feel a little, kind of like the little port there. Pop in the cable, and you're ready to rock and roll. Okay, so great question, Byron. Thank you so much for asking. We're going to go ahead and move on, my friends, because I do have a ton of more material to show you. So what I'll do right now is I want to demonstrate how you can actually leverage this tool also on dishwashers, right? So for example, if you have a dishwasher that complains about the dishes not drying, or coming out dirty, right? Maybe the main cup dispenser is stuck, it's not opening. Here's how with SmartHQ service, in a matter of just a couple seconds, you can actually determine exactly what the issue is. So take a look at this, my friends. Back at the heart of the home, and I can tell you from experience that dishwasher symptoms can sometimes be extremely difficult to diagnose. Wet or dirty dishes are some of the most common complaints you'll hear. But remember that with SmartHQ service, activating components takes just seconds, saving you valuable time. Let's start by checking out the detergent dispenser and make sure that it is working correctly. Go to Operate Loads and look for the main cup dispenser test. Click the 1-second button and the dispenser will immediately open up, ensuring the detergent will be properly distributed. Now, let's test the heater and make sure it can get the water hot enough to get those dishes nice and clean. Attach a clear door cover and click the water valve test to fill the cavity. Next, click the heater test button and allow the heater to warm up. Finally, splash some water onto the heater and watch it sizzle. Alrighty, my friends, and there you have it. That is how easy it is to diagnose a dishwasher for things like the main cup dispenser not opening, or for example, the heating element, the dishes coming out wet, right? You want to make sure the heater works. And in that process, right, we were also able to test the water valve. And I don't know if you noticed, but you can also check the turbidity sensor and the pressure sensor. So all these kind of abstract components that normally, some of us don't even know how to get to them, how to test them. SmartHQ service is going to give you that information. Now, there's a lot more to what I'm showing you right now. In this 1-hour session, unfortunately, there isn't enough time to cover everything. So I do want to share that we have a training series called Fix It Like a Pro. Maybe if you joined earlier, you heard me talk about it. But this, in effect, is a series that you can join by simply registering using that QR code right there on your screen. And this is going to give you access to not only live events that we host each month. So GE Appliances is proud to host these events independent from others. But you will also have access to all of the on-demand content that is there, right? For example, we're showing how to test an ice maker with a multimeter. You can, and we have everything, right? Every product category: cooking, dishwasher, washing machine. Each one will be in full detail, so that's for you to be able to view at any time. You just need to scan the QR code and register, and there's no cost associated with that. It's totally free. All right. We just want to make sure you have the right tools for you to be able to service our products easier, because if you can fix them, our customers are happy. They're going to buy more GE appliances, and you're going to want to fix more GE appliances the easier we make them to fix for you, right? All right. So let's go ahead and, so I did have a comment over here that I want to sort of read to everybody. And this is from Darian. So I also found when you scan the QR code, the app will tell you if it's compatible. So that's absolutely correct, Darian. If you, there's a QR code function on the application. If you scan the QR code on the label of the appliance, it will tell you if the appliance is connectable or not. So great point there, my friend. So now let's talk a little bit about one of my favorite or least favorite maybe topics, which is one that frustrates a lot of servicers out there, which is no defect found cases, okay? And you know what I'm talking about, right? Customer says their fridge is not cooling. You go in there, you can't find anything wrong with it. Customer says that maybe their washing machine, right, is taking forever to finish the load of laundry, and you go test it and you can't find out why, right? They're just, the only complaint they're giving you is this machine takes over 2 hours to finish, and when it finishes, the clothes come out all wet. And then, of course, the holiday season is coming up. There's going to be a lot of cooking, a lot of baking, and you'll run into customers that say that their pies are getting dipped in the center, whatever that means, or their turkey is taking more than what they thought it was going to take to cook. So all of these cases, right, they're very difficult to diagnose, and most importantly, it's very difficult to convince your customer that there is no problem. So what typically ends up happening is your customer, you'll tell them, look, I can't really find any issues, so call me in 24 hours if you still have the problem, and I'll come back. And guess what happens 9 out of 10 times? They call you. And here you are going back to that service call where you could have been running another service call making money. Now you're going back to that customer just to explain the same thing over and over to them again, because there really isn't a problem. So here was where SmartHQ service has an amazing feature called cycle history. So essentially what cycle history does is it turns your mobile device into almost like a data logger, okay? And for that, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate on this slide that we have over here an example of a refrigerator. So if you're connected to a refrigerator and you want to know what the temperature values have been over the last, let's say, 7 to 10 days, you could just click on the cycle history button and you'll see all of your temperatures in Fahrenheit, not just the compartment, but also the evaporator thermistor temperature values. This is an important one right here. You can also see how many times the doors were opened and for how long they remained open. This is huge, right? You leave the door open, of course the temperatures are going to go up. And very important here, you can also see when the defrost heater's turned on, and this will also tell you that the defrost system is actually working, okay, my friends? So again, a lot of the times when customers leave their doors open, and I'm not talking about like this, right? Nobody leaves the door open like this, at least not on purpose. Sometimes when you go to close it, you leave it like that, right? It's not fully closed, it's got a little bit of a gap. But if, let's say you take out your creamer in the morning making your coffee, and you're rushing out of the house and you leave it like this all day, and 8-10 hours later you come back and it's been like this, there's going to be abnormally high temperatures inside of the fridge. You're like, oh shoot, I forgot to close it. Well, if you see that, right, if you see that on the application, now as a technician you could say, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, I can see you left your door open, and maybe that's why the temperature is, is high, like you said. So going back to this example, my friends, with SmartHQ service, you have the ability also to graph this data for a simpler view. And as we can see right here, the temperature did go up to, let's zoom in over here. I like to zoom in to show things closer. Temperature went up in the compartment to 48, and in the evaporator section to 65. But the reason for that was a couple different things. Number one, you see this 5 right over here, right below? That number 5 indicates the door openings or how long the door was left open, so 5 minutes. At the very same time, the temperature went up. And also the defrost heater turned on for 16 minutes. So the combination of leaving the door open plus the defrost heater turning on made it so that the temperature went up to 48 degrees and 65. And that's why you had that spike. But again, there's absolutely no problem, because if you look at the temperatures around that spike, they're normal. They're 37 degrees, which is exactly what a refrigerator should be. So this makes it very, very easy for you to be able to determine if the issue is user related, right? There's no more guesswork here. You're not telling your customer things like, well, it's possible you left the door open, or maybe you did this, or because all these maybes, well, all this creates ambiguity. And at the end of the day, what it creates is another service visit for you that you're not getting paid for. You're going out there on your own time and on your own dime. Okay, so that's why it's important to be able to have all the tools that you need to get a first time complete, and that's precisely what we want. Now, I'm going to give you a little bonus over here, because we are going to have another training session coming up in the fall, but a little bonus for those of you that especially love the holiday season. All right, you're going to get calls sometime near Thanksgiving, customers telling you that their oven broke, right? Maybe they have never cleaned it and they finally decided to put it in self-clean mode, and the oven just died, or they're burning their cookies or their bread, right, that they're trying to bake is raw and undercooked. So what a lot of us do, right, we go ahead and go out and go to the dollar store, buy these little thermometers, and we pop them in there, set the oven to a set bake temperature, and play the waiting game. And let me tell you, don't do this. Don't get this. Do not use this method. Okay, if you actually want to measure the temperatures inside of the fridge, what you want to do is get yourself a good quality multimeter, get a high quality thermocouple, and attach it to that multimeter. Stick the thermocouple kind of in the center of the oven cavity, and go ahead and run your oven. Maybe set it to, let's say, 350, and then you got to take out a pen and paper and write down the highs and lows in terms of temperatures. Right, write down the high temperature, low temperature values while the unit is preheating, because this is going to give you an accurate assessment of whether or not the average temperature is close or at the point of your set temperature. So in this case, this is an actual example that I did myself, right? I took my little pen and paper, my multimeter, and I measured and I averaged out the temperatures, and it came out to 351, which is 1 degree off. So this was a perfectly calibrated oven. You're not always going to get that lucky, right? And also, who has the time for this? Do you have 45 minutes to do this? I mean, maybe you do. I don't know, but I'd rather spend that 45 minutes running another service call and making money. But hey, everybody does it their own way, right? So if you want to save on that 45 minutes, okay, here's what you do. You go to the SmartHQ service, the cycle history feature, and watch this. This is super amazing, my friends, what I'm about to show you, okay? In seconds, you're going to be able to see exactly what user set temperature the customer set their oven to. So for example, here the bake temperatures have been 350, 350, 450, 375. And you're also going to be able to see if the average temperature, right, that thing that we had to write down with a piece of paper, you're going to see if it actually reached the set temperature. All of this is going to happen in a matter of minutes, right? Not hours. You're not going to have to wait there for long. I mean, boom, you click, and right away you see these values. So let's take, for example, the cycle that took 57 minutes up here, right? The customer set this oven to 350, but look at the average temperature after it preheated, 321. So it's underperforming. Let's go to the one that says 450 degrees. So this ran for 147 minutes, quite a bit. And the temperature, right, in the oven cavity never even reached 400. It stayed at 483, somewhere in that neighborhood. So clearly this oven is underperforming. We need to calibrate it so that it's a little bit higher than that. Now, again, if you're not a numbers person, what you can actually do is you can graph this data for a simpler view. And when you graph it, right, you can see that the red line indicates the average temperature after preheat, and the blue is the set temperature. They're not on top of one another. the red line is never reaching the blue, which means the oven is under calibrated, and we would need to bump up that temperature by about, I want to say about 25 to 30 degrees, probably in the 30 range more than anything, okay? So just like that, right, in a matter of minutes, I was able to bypass that 45-minute writing down on a piece of paper, sticking a thermocouple, all that stuff by just simply clicking a few buttons on my application. And right away, I know exactly what I need to do. I need to calibrate that oven by plus 30 degrees. Now, you can do that on the interface, or you could do it right on the application. There's a function for that, and you're done, right? So some of you might be asking, well, what if it's the temperature sensor? Well, if it was a temperature sensor, you would have gotten a fault code that tells you the temperature sensor is bad, and then you would know it's a temperature sensor. Or if it's an element, right, there's a test you could run to activate the heater and see if the temperature rises to the temperature you want the oven to be. All right. With that said, my friends, I will open it up to questions, but before, I'm going to go ahead and check on the chat over here. There's something that came up, so let's take a look. My email ad is all right. So we do have a question from Byron. Great question. What is a monthly subscription price? Will any part of the tool work without the subscription? So that's a beautiful question, Byron. There is a monthly subscription after your first month, and that is going to be $50 per month. You can actually pay that on an annual basis, or if you pay month to month, I believe it's $55, a little bit higher. Whatever the case may be, let me just put it in perspective for all of you out there that are wondering about this, okay? So $55 a month. Let's say you do month by month after your one month free period. If you use this tool just one time a month, just once, forget multiple times, once, to save you a second or third service visit, not only did you cover the cost of that subscription, but you also made a little bit of a profit in the process, because I'm not going to be the one to tell you. You know exactly how much it costs to put a technician out in the field. It's a lot more than $55, okay? So it's an investment. It's definitely an investment. You're investing in something. But if you were investing in stocks, and this was a stock, this would be like getting in on sunlight before there was sunlight. I mean, that's how crazy this tool is, how much it's going to pay for itself. I have technicians that, you know, I talk to, they say this paid for itself in the first couple visits. And the only regret that they have, because there are some regrets to getting this, right? But the only regret I've ever heard is that they didn't get it sooner. All right, that's it. So, you know, get on this now, because by the time the holiday season comes up and you got all those phone calls coming in, it's already too late. Okay, you want to get time to get accustomed to this tool, to learn it, and right now is the time to do so. Okay, my friends. But great question. So I think we have another.
Mics are open. Anybody unmute and ask Juan a question straight away.
Questions, my friends, don't be shy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on because we are coming close to time, but I want to show you one more test over here. So if you recall, I mentioned to you the fact that with SmartHQ service, your efficiency is going to go through the roof, right, in terms of how fast you can diagnose things. So I'm going to show you very quickly right now how we can actually diagnose the defrost system in this unit by simply going into, so let me go back out here. We're going to go to, again, service mode, operate loads. And we're going to go ahead and activate the heaters. So in this case, I'm going to test the entire defrost system for the freezer section with a simple push of a button. Right now, I can see my freezer defrost heater is at minus 13 degrees Fahrenheit. That's what the thermistor is saying. And when I turn on the defrost heater function, so I just heard a little relay click in the back. So what this is going to do, it is going to activate the defrost heater in, I'm going to say in about 5 minutes or so, I should see a rise in temperature. Actually, we need to exit service mode. I need to get back into service mode. So let me go ahead and exit service mode. Go back, operate loads, enter service mode again. Because I waited too long. It actually kicked me out while I was doing all that talking before. Okay, there we go. So we're going to select heaters. We're going to go ahead and activate our freezer defrost heater, and I should hear the relay click. And there it is. So my freezer defrost heater, still waiting for it to run. It's off. It's not allowing me to run it. So the freezer defrost heater in this case, if you see the off function right there, my friends, see it's not allowing me to turn it on, that would be an indication, right away, that my main control board is not capable of sending voltage to that heater. So if I had a defrost system issue, okay, because I'm hitting the on button and nothing's happened to the status, that would tell me that a main board is what needs to be changed. Because again, I was listening for the relay. I never heard it. I was trying to hear it. This would clearly indicate to me that I have a problem with my main control board if I was diagnosing a defrost issue. So rather than taking the unit out of the point of installation, measuring 120 volts AC coming from the main control board, or checking the defrost heater for continuity, all the stuff that you normally do, right away the app told me that there's obviously a problem with the main board, and of course we're going to have to check that out at a later time. Okay, my friends. Now, again, speaking of which, if I did need, for example, now that I know that, potentially the main board is bad, okay, let's just say, for example, that you needed a schematic diagram to be able to measure that, okay? SmartHQ Service gives you the ability to pull up service documents here in a matter of seconds, and it's going to be in crystal clear form. Watch what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to hit the manuals and bulletins button, and if I want to pull up the schematic, I go to the mini manual, and I'm going to take myself out of the picture over here so you can appreciate the crystal clear quality of the graphics. Take a look at this when I pinch to zoom, okay? Normally, PDF files, when you pinch to zoom, they get all pixelated, you can't read anything, but look at the crystal clear graphics that I see here. My defrost heater is at, 37 ohms. It's got 2 thermal fuses in line with it, and if I want to go to the main board and test it, I am going to my orange and blue wire. Super simple, right? And if I want to check, for example, my fans, right, for 13 volts signal, here's my fan, here's my wires, there's my pins, my brown and tan cables are going to read my 13 volts and ground. So all of this information right at your fingertips. No need for you to go to a service website, no need to phone a friend, nothing. Everything is right here for you, okay, my friends? So with that said, what I'm going to do right now is I'm also going to show you right here how once you have this tool, you can actually go ahead and not only look for parts, okay, but also order them from Encompass. So let's look for the part. Let's say we did need that fan, right? Remember we said we had a problem with the fan over here? Let's go ahead and hit the one parts button, and that's going to give us an exploded drawing of every single section of the fridge. And in this case, the one I'm interested in is the fresh food section. So we'll navigate to fresh food, click on that, and whoops, let me make sure I'm sharing my screen. Sorry about that. Let's go back over here. So one parts, the exploded drawing of every single section of the fridge comes up. We're going to go to fresh food. There we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and select the fan. So there's my fan right there, item number 716. So if you click on that, there's your part number right there, refrigerator fan motor. Boom, it's right there. And what I can do is I can copy and paste that. So I'm going to copy that part number. Okay, watch. And now I'm going to go to my parts ordering section. So you go to parts ordering. We're going to select parts marketplace, and pay attention here, my friends. You need this code, okay? ENC23. That is the code that you need to enter here in this field. That's going to be your code so that you can order your parts directly from Encompass Supply. And by the way, when you get your module from Encompass, the one that you can pre-order today, it is going to come with a sticker inside that's going to give you this information as well, just in case you forget. But I'm telling you right now, make sure you enter code ENC23 so that every time you order parts, it's directly through Encompass Supply. Now watch this. When I go ahead and go to that section, it's going to take me directly to the Encompass Supply B2B website. And what I can do, remember I copied that part number? You can go ahead and click over here. And why isn't my finger picking it up? Okay, you can actually, okay, oh, I had it. So paste it. Okay, paste. Boom, there it is. I just pasted the part that I copied earlier. You're going to hit search. And as you can see right away, it shows you the part number. It's the fan, and it's available. It's in stock. And you can place your order, boom, right then and there. Now, how cool is that, right? It's a one-stop shop where I can diagnose, troubleshoot, find out what part I need, place my order on the spot. No need to go back to the office. This is going to save you a ton of time, my friends, okay? That's That's the best way I can put it.
Juan,
I did a question
Juan,
come in. Yeah.
will you go back to our Encompass page, our homepage, and let them know that right next to that search feature, there is a section called Hot Deals, and we run GE promotions, whether it's GE SmartHQ and or GE appliance parts promotions throughout the year. We have a current one going on for back to schools, refrigerator, dishwasher, microwave. We have ranges coming up and cooking. Right there, that see what's on sale, hot deals. You'll see if you go down, there's that all hands on deck is a GE promotion specifically. And we run those pretty much throughout the year. We run something for GE.
That is awesome. Thank you for bringing that up. I actually had not seen that. But yeah, that's a great piece of information there, Lisa. Thank you so much for sharing that. I did see a comment come in. So from Triple Plaza, it said the heater turned on when you turned it off. Probably a glitch because it. Yeah. So I think you're absolutely right, Triple. My friends from Triple Plaza, because earlier this unit was working. Now again, I beat up this refrigerator. I'm turning the compressor on and off repeatedly within 5 minutes on, and you're not supposed to do that. So for some reason, again, my main board wasn't working. I bet you if we try it now, the main board will actually turn on. But in this particular case, I think I just took a little bit too long to exit the service mode. And in general, my friends, if you see that signal turn on, and for example, in the case of a heater, if you hear the relay click, it would mean that there's voltage coming from the main board to the heater. All right, but that's yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. I know that sometimes things. This is fully live, so things happen sometimes when we're live that we don't expect and anticipate. All right. With that said, my friends, what I want to do is once you get your bundle pack, okay. So again, you can order today using the QR code, which I'm going to show at the end of the presentation right now. Once you order your Bluetooth module, it's going to come in a nice little box. You're going to need to activate it. It's not just going to, I know everybody's going to be eager to just take it out, download the app, and plug in. You have to create an account, and then you have to assign the license to either yourself or to a technician. So to better demonstrate how that works, we're going to go ahead and show you a quick video of how that function takes place. So let's go ahead and take a look. This video will show you how to set up a SmartHQ service account and activate your bundle pack. To get started, you'll need to register your account by visiting service.dashboard.smarthqpro.com. It is important to know that account registration must be completed by the account owner before any technician can download and sign into the SmartHQ service app. Once this process is complete, you will receive an email prompting you to verify your account. In the event that you do not receive a verification email, it is possible you already have an account. In this case, click Forgot Password and enter your email address to reset your password. A password recovery link will be sent to your email. You can now sign into the customer portal using your login credentials. Upon your first login, you will be asked if you'd like to activate a bundle pack. Click Yes and select the number of service modules you have. For this example, we will activate one bundle pack. Enter the MAC ID found on the Bluetooth module. Be sure to use capital letters as this field is case sensitive. Your subscription is now activated and you can begin assigning technicians. Under My Purchases, you will see that one license is available. Let's go ahead and allocate it to a technician. Click Allocate Licenses and enter the technician's information. Please be sure to select the correct device type and click Save. Once the license has been assigned, the intended technician will receive an email from SmartHQ Management outlining the following steps. First, download the SmartHQ service app from either the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Open up the app and select Service Tech. Even though an account has already been created for you, you'll still need to reset your password to something you can remember. To do this, click Forgot Your Password and enter the email address associated with your account. It is important to note that you must enter the email address used in the initial communication from SmartHQ Management to reset your password. A reset link will be emailed to you. When you receive it, click Reset Your Password. If you do not receive a password reset email, it's likely you haven't verified your account. Please look for an email from no-reply-SmartHQ to verify your account. When creating a password, please be sure that it meets the noted criteria and click Save. You may now sign into the SmartHQ service application. Streamline your parts ordering process by designating your preferred distributor right from the app. From the dashboard screen, click Parts Ordering. Select Parts Marketplace and enter the code associated with your distributor. If you have any questions about this process, please email smarthqservice.support@geappliances.com. Alrighty, my friends, and there you have it. That was the process of actually connecting your device, right? Creating an account and making sure that you have access to the SmartHQ service application. Again, if you purchase this for yourself, you would assign the license to yourself. But if you're purchasing this for one of your service technicians, you would have to create the account and assign it just like the video showed, okay? With the holiday season coming up, if you're looking for the perfect gift, this makes a great gift because it is the gift truly. This sounds cliche, right? But SmartHQ service is the gift that keeps on giving. Think about it. If your technician can run more service calls for you because you gave him this fancy tool, it's a gift for yourself, right? So everybody kind of wins. All right, my friends. With that said, I'm going to talk about the last feature here because it is an important one. Okay, I did talk about this earlier. Firmware updates, okay, and then we're going to let you go. So this firmware update button over here on the side where your diagnostic section was, if you click on it, it's basically going to tell you that you can update the firmware on the appliance that you are working on. So if you go ahead and read the details, it's going to tell you more or less what the update is going to do. But most importantly, here's the deal, my friends. If there is a software-related issue out there that is causing your appliance, not the appliance you're working on, not to function, in many cases, by simply doing an update, you'll be able to fix that problem without having to replace a board or in some cases multiple boards on the appliance. Take a look at this example of this fridge over here. This says we can update both the main board, which is in the back, and the door board, which is somewhere up here. So these would be two parts that I would normally have to order, disassemble the unit, put it back together, have to wait. That with a push of a button, I'm going to hit apply, and then you have to hold down the key for 3 seconds. We're going to cancel because I don't want to go through the update now. But with a push of a button, you can update the firmware. And, you know, here you are thinking you're going to have to order parts, and you're in and out of the house in 10, 15 minutes maybe, and the appliance is fixed. It's done, right, in one shot. So this is where we say that your first-time fix will increase by using SmartHQ services. And that's not just a phrase or some kind of a slogan. This is a mathematical certainty, okay? Use SmartHQ service and you will increase your first-time completes. There's no question about it, okay? That's zero question about it. So that's, I wanted to show you that, my friends, because that's one of the features that a lot of people ask for, and that's frankly one of the features a lot of people get this tool for, right? Maybe they know how to diagnose well and everything else, but firmware updates, where else are you going to be able to get that? SmartHQ service is going to let you do that. And with your monthly subscription, you have unlimited access. You want to update one appliance or you want to update 10, it doesn't make a difference, okay? You have the option to do that. All right, my friends, before we go, I want to go ahead and open it up one last time to anybody on the line that may have a question. So, Andy, if you want to do the honors there.
No, mics are open. Again, speak openly. You're among friends. Any questions? Would you bring that special sheet up, Juan?
Yep. All right, my friends. So, unfortunately, my friends, we actually went a little bit past the time, but we are officially out of time. And I just want to end it by saying thank you. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for having taken the time out of your schedule to join us. Also, a big thank you to everyone over at Encompass Supply, Andrea, Lisa, Andy, and the rest of the team. You've done a phenomenal job at putting this together. So thank you for welcoming GE Appliance to your platform. And we are going to leave you with the details regarding the special offer that you have access to pre-order your module today. Again, get the module for $199, order $2,500 in parts, and you will receive a $200 credit if you order those GE parts within 2 months. All right. So my friends, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care. Thank you.
And as a reminder, if you get more